son, where'd you find this?
Buckle up, buttercups. It's time to get down to business. Yeah. It's the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. Totally legit.
It's the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast, and we're back again, and we are joined by the magnanimous Danny Bellini. Here he is. Welcome back to the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here. It feels great. I've got the best lighting this side of Manhattan.
It's super professional. Listen, not everyone understands the struggle of having your bedroom be your office, be your studio, be your film set.
This is actually a different room. I have a separate bedroom.
Oh, that's right. You do have an
embarrassing
office.
Part is this is a messy office that there's just too much in it. But I got Eric's desk there. I had to clean up. There was like a bunch of my roommate. He had like a whole bunch of crap, and I was like, I gotta clean it up.
Eric.
People.
Well, that's just wonderful. What have you been up to? What have you been up to since you've been on the show last?
I've been up to a lot, actually. I appreciate you asking. So I have been, I think since last time I talked to you, I've been making the same endeavor into making a film. I have been trying to make a film with a partner of mine who lives in France. The film will take place in France. Wholly in French, and in that time I have filmed maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of footage on 60 millimeter film in France with French actors and French cinematographers, and we have made a short film which is 15 minutes, and it's designed as a proof of concept to bring in funding for a feature film, and that's where we're at. That's what I've been up to. It's been a lot of work.
Wow. It's not an easy undertaking for sure.
No.
But I really do love how it's like, I can't remember exactly, but maybe like a year ago, you were talking about this thing and you're like, I really want to do this. And like, you've crossed the threshold, dude. You've entered into the thickness of actually doing the thing.
It is messy. It's fun. It's like playing in the dirt, as you get messy, you're learning new things. I think because I remember talking to you, I was nervous about opening an LLC. And you were like, yo, if the guy down the street can open an LLC for the bodega, you can open an LLC for your movie. And I did. I have a lawyer. He's awesome. He does my taxes. He opened my LLC. I guess he's not a lawyer. He's a tax guy. I don't know what he is. I think he's a nice guy is what he is.
Well, you don't need to be a lawyer to file.
Right.
Like, some tax accountants understand that it's just paperwork.
Right. He would
file this form, and then you have this document that says you can do these things. Yeah.
Well, we had to get published too. And actually what he gave us is this beautiful, this is why you pay him. Look, he gave me this beautiful case. You could see Pig to Pig Pictures. That's our name, Pig to Pig Pictures.
Love that.
It's from an old film that we saw. And look, he gave me this beautiful binder, and it's got all my important stuff in it. Wow, and he gave us a letterhead presser. I mean, how legit is this? You talking about
a stamp or an
podcast?
embosser? A stamp or an embosser?
I think it's a stamp. Yeah, look. It's got our name on there, Pig to Pig Pictures.
Oh, that's an embosser.
Oh, it's an embosser,
legit.
yeah.
Yeah, that's sick as fuck, dude.
I don't even know what I'm talking about, yeah.
It's legit, bro.
That's where we're at. We're with the Legitimate Business Podcast. This is the legitimate business. I'm bringing the legitimacy to your podcast, bro.
Wow, it's so legit.
So that's what I've been up to. I've been doing that. My job is going strong. I got a great job. We're doing a lot of cool events. I've been doing a lot of cool work with, I'm allowed to talk about it, it's public, with Emergent, who puts out Narcan nasal spray. I don't know if you've heard of Narcan. It saves lives.
Dude, yeah, seriously.
So I've been working on educational videos for them, which is great because I feel like I'm helping a lot of people because, I mean, this product really does save lives. It has the potential to save lives. That's the correct way to say that. But I've been doing these really great educational animation videos for them, and it feels really awesome to do animation to that extent and to do it for a community that, could use it. I mean, it's like, part of me is like, oh, it's pharmaceuticals, but it's good pharmaceuticals,
Well, let's not go that far.
Well, that's not the topic.
Narcan, the functionality of Narcan is now at this point undeniable. Every cop and EMT person has one on them for a goddamn reason.
Yeah,
it's not fucking fentanyl. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's like how you save someone from a fentanyl overdose.
Exactly. And let this be like, a lesson to anybody listening. It's worth it to have it in your house, just in case. If anybody has pain medication of any kind, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I take one every night.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It actually helps. It helps blood. No, I'm going to get sued talking about this.
Yeah, seriously. Don't do Narcan recreationally.
No. They did assure us because at one point I was going to film the product and they were like, oh, someone can use it on screen. And I'm like, who's going to use it? And they're like,
no, that's safe. A terrible idea. That's a terrible idea.
But we didn't do it.
I know. Well, that's sick. Well, it's just been awesome. It has been awesome watching you put that shit together, and just like any undertaking like that is death by 1,000 cuts. And it's just fucking step after step after step, and you think you're done, and then you're never done, and you think you're prepared, and you're never prepared. But I mean, making a movie is not an easy undertaking.
No,
doing a large form creative project with other people involved, that's not an easy undertaking. It's difficult. Some people can't do it, We
didn't even make it easy for ourselves. We said we wanted to do it on film.
Oh, you wanted
in a foreign country. Yeah, with foreign speaking. I've been trying to learn French for years now.
Yeah, wait, so how does that work? Do you rent cameras? Does he have gear over there? Do you bring gear in? Do you have to like pay for special shit because you're doing that?
Yes and no. He's been living over there for a little while, and we've been writing the script for a little while. We started talking about actually doing it, and he started reaching out. And there is a collective in his town. He lives in Rennes. He doesn't live in Paris. He lives in Rennes. And there's like a film collective community business that rents out film cameras and film, and they will do the scans for you. And he went there asking for somebody to shoot for him. And that's where we met Nicola. He's a cinematographer. He's wonderful. He's got an amazing eye. And the first time I went over there, we worked with Nicola for the first time, and we just went around and we just shot on film just to get a feel for it. And it went great. We loved all the footage. He did it one more time with Nicola. They shot some more footage. And then a few weeks ago, I flew over there for the weekend just to shoot an entire scene. And for that, we bought, about 77 minutes of footage of film, which is about $2,000, I think.
Jesus Christ, wow.
And that includes the 4K scan. Actually, no, it doesn't include the 4K scan. It was another few $100 for that. And we shot all of it. I mean, at the end of the day, we had under a minute left, which is wild because the whole restriction is, you get on set and you call action and you call cut. It seems a little trivial in the digital age, but in film, the second I call cut is so important because that's an extra second of film that we'll save, an extra minute over time. So, we're going back, we're watching our footage, and there's some things we missed. There's some things we cut too early. And it just makes the edit more challenging in a good way because, you start to care a little bit less about continuity. Like, no one's brought it up so far, but continuity is out the window with film because unless you have somebody there, which they usually do, the continuity expert, it's so difficult. I mean, we're getting fresh performances every take, and something as simple as they're eating in one take, you cut away and they're actually leaning back. But because it's film, I think the medium transitions the viewer to not care. I mean, you lose track. There's something about the I don't know, the
je ne sais quoi.
But yeah, I mean, you forget, and you're watching film, and you're transfixed by it. It's tactile. You it exists. You can like feel it, as opposed to digital. Digital's got this extra element. You never know if it's CGI kind of a look now. So I think it helps the medium. I think it helps the story. It helps the characters shine, and it helps us. If we forget or miss a couple things, you'll be transfixed by the beauty of film, and you'll forget.
Well, that was something like I remember all my professors telling me in school when I was learning all about audio engineering, and we were well into the digital age at that point.
Yeah.
And they didn't even offer analog recording because it was so expensive and, nobody made tape. But basically their thing was when you were recording to tape, shit mattered more.
Yeah.
Everything mattered more. So like the general level of focus of someone recording now is way lower than it was when it was like, you've got one take.
Yeah.
Don't fuck this up. It matters. It kind of the same thing. And the non-linear editing reality that we live in now has made people a little bit, the pressure's off, So I hear what you're saying, and that's absolutely a fucking thing.
Yeah, I think it's
when the pressure is on like that, it changes it. And dude, Scorsese, all of Scorsese's movies, there's like little in-continuity things, but
plenty.
You don't care. You're so enthralled by the performance that they're capturing in that moment that you just whatever, don't give a shit.
I kind of like continuity errors. I kind of see them now. As a kid, I was like, oh, he was the other way around, but now I see him and I like it because it feels fresh. It feels like they were like, this is the story. They're like, this is the take. This is the story. Everything depends on this take so much that I'm throwing continuity out the window. Like even Scorsese, for to see a continuity effort in a Scorsese movie, you're like, there was a reason.
Yeah, no, dude, and like I haven't noticed it, and it's also some movies I'm way more forgiving, and other movies I'm not. Depends on how egregious it is. But Scorsese, I always notice it with like forks, table settings. Like very, very simple things, even with some of the music editing. But my point here is that that's it accentuates how real the performance is. I don't know. For me, like Scorsese is the only one that comes to mind, but I'm sure the other filmmakers that I'm fans of, the continuity errors in their films.
Everybody but David Fincher, I'd say. David Fincher's the only one who probably wouldn't let that slide. I think every other director would probably be like,
whatever.
Yeah,
that works.
But you can fix everything now digitally anyway. I mean, that too with David Fincher. He's known for doing a lot digitally, not to fix things, but to make them more historically accurate.
Yeah.
Like for the show, for Mindhunter, the reason it didn't get greenlit for another season because it cost too much. Because he was just so hyper focused on making it historically accurate.
As accurate as hell, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing a post talking about sidewalks. And you know how in sidewalks they have a little ramp for wheelchair access? And he was they
didn't have that back then.
No, they didn't have that back then. So he had to digitally remove wheelchair ramps from sidewalks in the background.
Well, sure. Shots. And planes from skies, like,
right.
That's
planes,
like that's I appreciate, but I would agree with you. There's only a few Kubrick, Fincher, like those, maybe Nolan. Those are the only people that.
Yeah,
it'd be a real strange thing if they had a serious continuity error.
I'll tell you what, Nolan does on the same realm is I've seen a lot of jump cuts from Nolan. I've seen cuts where I'm in a Nolan movie it's a perfection of a movie, because that's what he does. He's very particular.
Meticulous.
And then you'll see a couple of jump cuts and you'll be like, was the performance that good that he had to use it? Like, did he have to go there? Like, I know, who's the other director that I like that does that? The guy who did Antichrist, The House that Jack Built, Breaking the Waves. Can't think of his name right now.
Looking it up right now.
He kind of got this.
Lars von Trier.
Yes, Lars von Trier will do this.
He did. Didn't he also do that fucking weird ass movie with?
He's done a lot of weird movies.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he recently, I think he got canceled because of some shit he was saying.
Yeah, he was like supporting Nazism or something, like on tour with his new movie, and Kirsten Dunst looks at him like, you just ruined
it wasn't his new movie. It was Melancholia in 2011. Yes. That's the movie I was thinking. It was the one after Antichrist. But I mean, what's dumb is like, if you watch the clip, it's clearly his inability to translate his thought into English, but it sounds really bad.
It does sound
like
bad.
when you listen to him say it, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then the movie after Melancholia was Nymphomaniac.
Yeah, that was a weird one too.
Yeah, sure.
But he'll do jump cuts in the middle of conversation, middle of like monologues. And I remember I've had this thought a lot recently where I'll watch these movies that are considered like, critically amazing and they're full of what what film school would teach you are mistakes, but they're not mistakes. You know, you start to let go of all the rules that you learned about filmmaking and realize that it's an art form, and that mistakes are not mistakes when they're intentional. And
they're happy accidents.
Yeah, well, there's that too. There's definitely happy accidents. I mean, I've been doing it with this short. I mean, I've had a loss for footage because we only own so much stock of film, so we had to make something that made sense. And I'm over here thinking, well, I would love to have this one thing, but I don't, and I kind of like it now that I don't. And I'm wondering, is it because there's no possibility of the other option, or is it because it's better because I don't have the other option? I don't know. It's basically, it's fun to be making films again.
Well, and kind of going back to what I was saying, there's something freeing about accepting this is what I have to work with.
Yes,
when you can continually record more, the pressure's off. The whole vibe changes when it's like, it doesn't matter. If we need to do it again, we'll just do it again.
We'll fix it in post.
It's not a big deal. I can re-record the same thing literally 100,000 times.
Yeah,
where there's no pressure. It doesn't matter. I don't have to get it right 100,000 times. I only need to get it right once.
Dude, we don't even know when we film how we're going to watch dailies, because we're looking to film in Saint-Malo in northern France, and the place that does the film scans, I'm pretty sure, is Paris. It's like directly in Paris. So like there's a possibility that we'd have to send film out night of and wait till 2 days later to get
just to see what it looks like,
just to see if we got the shot, which is fun. You know, it's nerve-wracking. I mean, so my creative partner, Gore Abrams, he's, we're writing and directing together, but he's also starring in it. So one of our designs for the short film was, okay, let's leave your shots for last, because you're one of us. If you have to stay late, you'll stay late. If you have to come back, you'll come back. You're not a paid actor. You're the writer director. So we saved all his shots till the end, and we were almost out of film. He could only do like 2 takes at most, if that. And
that's awesome.
He was upset. He was disappointed. But I was like, look, dude, that's where we're at. Like, but we ended up getting more than we needed from him, honestly, because he nailed it. That's why we're working together.
The pressure's on. When the pressure's on, that the whole vibe is different when the pressure's on.
It's serious. It's not student film running around with a digital camera that your parents bought. It's like, I'm investing the last
massive
4 years
amounts of money and time and energy. Yeah.
Like this could break me if it doesn't work. Financially, emotionally, whatever. Yeah, so I've been revitalized basically by doing this. It's something
I can tell, and for sure, it's one of those things. Like that's why when I heard you talking about it, I was like so stoked on it.
Yeah,
because I don't know. For me, I am always the creative enabler in the sense that I'm telling people to do that crazy fucking thing, like spend a crazy amount of money pursuing the creation of your art.
Yeah.
I'm an enabler in that sense. I'm never going to tell someone not to do that because I understand the emotional fulfillment that comes from it.
Oh my God, yeah.
For people like us who like to do creative shit, the excitement of putting something together, even all the hard shit, all the money, all the time, all the energy, like there's just like I don't know. For me, it's been the source of life most of my life.
I agree.
Because the rest of this reality bores me.
Oh my God.
It bores and depresses me. And the only
it's designed to.
Yeah, really. No, it's meant to beat you down, and it beats me down hard. But I just have always tried to put my depression and anxiety and darkness, dark thoughts.
Oh yeah.
I like to just channel it.
Well,
punish myself by practicing my instrument or create something.
Give yourself blisters. Well, philosophically speaking, I think it was Nietzsche who basically said that the idea that humanity is killing itself to keep up the idea of a civilization. Like good citizens make bad humans, I think is the quote. Because we have to go against our nature. So you hear a lot of people be like, "Oh, human nature is kill, hunt, eat, like basics. And it's true though. So like for us to be good citizens in a society, we have to bury our instincts. And that's, I guess, I've been reading about nihilism lately. That's one of the bases of nihilism is the idea that you're suppressing, like all your instincts, you're ignoring all your instincts for the sake of a civilization, of a society. For what? For what? Like, for what?
What's the real benefit here? To consume the shit that gets shoveled to us as if it's something different when it's all just the same garbage?
Oh my God.
To work the same shit jobs that are demoralizing and dehumanizing and
to barely make enough every time.
Soul-sucking, to barely make enough to just be able to pay your bills and have enough left over to have some fun, freedom.
And then to be told that you have to drink paper straws because it's your fault that the earth is falling apart. It's all on your back.
Dude.
It's all on our backs.
I honestly, I'm not taking the blame for that shit anymore. Sorry. A couple years ago, it clicked for me. I had nothing to do with this. I had nothing to fucking do with this. I was born into this shit. The wheels were spinning so much longer before I was even jizz. Okay? It's unreasonable for anyone, and I will not suffer anyone trying to blame me or us like we're the fucking problem. We don't control the means of production.
No.
We're not the fucking issue here. I personally am not concerned about Clorox Bleach's profits this year. I don't give a shit.
Because they're always like, like you need to start making changes. You need to start making choices. Like you have to choose not to eat that burger or not to eat. And I'm like, look, I get it. If I started making changes, that would help me, maybe. But like, you just come down, and if you want me to stop eating burgers, just remove the burgers. Just do it. Like, just come in and do it. Like, and then I'll be like, okay, but don't ask me to start a revolution. It's so odd that it's like it has to be I don't know. I go back and forth with.
Look, dude. Honestly, it's just another thing being sold to you. Like this is how clever this fucking life is. It gaslights you into thinking that you stand a chance to have a thought of your own. It gaslights you into thinking that you have a fucking choice. We have no choices.
Here's a choice.
Yeah, there you go. Spark up, buddy. I'm the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast, where you can get your favorite filmmaker smoking a joint.
This is gonna come back to haunt me in like 5 years.
Yeah, no, it won't. It's whatever. Everybody smokes weed. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I know.
I for me, it's just one of those things where like I'm not gonna accept that, bro. That the people that can do something about it clearly don't want to.
They're not going to.
And they're not going to. They have never, and they're not going to start now. And they have done they literally spent millions of dollars to convince average people like you and I that
that's our
we're
fault.
The fucking problem.
Yeah.
I'm not the problem. I'm not accepting responsibility for that.
Apparently we're the problem and the solution.
Well, right. Again, right there is where they're selling you the illusion that you can do anything to change the scenario. And we can't.
It doesn't matter. It's the dissonance of the choices that you're given. It's kind of like how I see religion for the most part. The whole God is all powerful, God is all good thing. You can't be both. That whole argument, it's obvious, classic argument. But that's kind of how I feel all of faith and religion is. It's like, hey, it's fate, but it's also your choice.
A giant contradiction. Yeah,
everything's a contradiction. I think our entire lives is filled with contradictions.
There's probably a deeper. We don't necessarily have to get into this. There's a deeper esoteric interpretation of this, but the concept of duality, positive and negative, everything existing in the flux of some kind of duality.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just fundamental to our existence. It's a concept that we're familiar with at a literally an atomic level, and it gets used against us all the time.
All the time. Unless, if you want to get all spiritual and weird with it, the age of, we moved into the age of Aquarius?
The age of Aquarius, yeah.
Yeah, so we're moving from the idea of duality. I think we're moving into a new age of new thought. Honestly, dude, I think we're in for a lot. I think we're going to see a lot of change still. I mean, you and I how old we are. We've seen exponential change in technology, connectivity, AI now. I think we're going to see some changes in evolution too. I think we're going to see some extra weird shit. I wouldn't be surprised if we got not X-Men, but the most watered down 10% version of X-Men that we could get.
There's a tangent conspiracy here. It's called the Rainbow Children. It's like the children of the Aquarian Age. They are supposed to. It's like a whole conspiracy that they possess these.
They're gonna save the world.
Superpowers. I don't know if they're gonna save it.
Oh.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know if it needs to be saved. We need to be saved. Earth is going to be fine.
Well, saving Earth would be killing us.
We need This is what I'm saying. I don't think the Earth is going to be fine. We're just a temporary disease to the Earth. But we're the ones that need saving. But the Rainbow Children is like I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But the Rainbow Children. They're the children of the Aquarian Age that will have like low level psychokinetic abilities.
Now I want kids.
Huh?
Now I want kids. Now I want to have a super baby.
Technically, like we could fall into that category too. It's like the youth of this age. We're like when you think about it
before 2012.
It's not necessarily being born in 2012. We're the first generation of humans that fully connected and merged with technology.
Oh, okay,
We were the first ones.
Yeah.
We were the experiment. So it is from us that shit would evolve because we have access to more information. We're just in general, we're compounding more information.
Oh, we're packing our brains
on a daily fucking basis, more so than anyone has ever. We're really pushing the limits.
I feel like we're like front loading our brains like in the negative way. Like I feel like there's more to our brains than the realm we're on. You know, I'm all about the idea, you know how animals can see infrared, all the entire spectrum of light and existence that we can't see and feel. I feel like that is where our brains should be developing, but we've moved so far beyond that we're going the opposite way. We're front loading our shit.
Well, the problem there is the filters. Okay, so our brain could theoretically perceive computations at much higher capacity, like than how we use it on a daily basis. It could probably operate a little bit higher than what we're thinking. But our eyes limit what we can and can't see. Our ears limit what we can and can't hear. So it's a physical barrier that we could never get past. And when you look at how most people deal with technology, staring at their fucking phones, not having blue filter glasses on or something to filter the blue light out of the screen, we wear ear pods in our ears that are blasting music that's hyper compressed at insane fucking volumes, inches from our, like millimeters from our fucking eardrums. We're destroying them. We're further limiting our ability to see and hear anything every time you make those decisions.
You got headphones on right now? You're doing it right now?
I got headphones on. They're not earbuds, and I'm not listening to this shit at a blistering volume. This also isn't hyper compressed. So, like, it's not a death metal record, you know? But also, I wear earplugs. I wear glasses that filter out the blue light. Like,
when do you wear earplugs?
When I'm at a fucking concert, when I'm working a festival, I'm wearing earplugs. When when I would play shows, sometimes I would wear them depending on which band it was and what the live sound situation is. But even so, like I'm not perfect with it, and some of my hearing has been damaged just from use. It's taken some abuse, so I'm not hearing 100%. All I mean to say by any of that is using our brain is something that we can do regardless of the filter. And I think the true unlocking of any higher order of perception than what we're in now would really require some like I don't know, some form of meditative practice, but not necessarily just meditation. For other people, it might be nature. For other people, it might be other different things, playing an instrument or doing something else. But whatever that thing is for you, getting your brain into that state and keeping it there as long as possible is the ideal scenario. And it's like not to hope that you can get any special ability. That's whatever you're doing that's making you feel that way, that's what's evolving your consciousness. All the rest of this shit, it's meant to kill your consciousness. Completely obliterate it.
I know.
So it's funny. We're talking about certain industries, and obviously we want to talk about SAG-AFTRA. I called this episode SAG-AFTRA.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
the writers are on strike. I'm sorry, I'm not that good of a joker.
It is sad.
Well, it's not. We were getting there. It's not like we were totally off topic, but
that's a nice segue.
What I've been loving about that scenario is how audacious the studio heads have been. They have been so I feel like as the general trend in the workforce shifts focus back to like, what if we unionize? What if we control the means?
It's happening everywhere.
It's happening in many different industries, right? And the entertainment industry has just been the most delightful to watch because the people who are on strike write jokes and they're writers.
That's a good point.
They're savage in their undressing of the topic, and the studio heads come out and say the dumbest shit.
Oh, they really
do.
And
it's like that. I'm honestly waiting for them to start rolling fucking guillotines down the streets. Like the writers to me are that pissed, and what the responses from the studio heads, like what the dude, the one guy who was Hellboy threatened one of the
because he said
Ron Perlman.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we know exactly who it was, but somebody, I think it was because it was the we're waiting for them to lose their houses.
Yeah, right. That's the line.
Yeah. But okay, so the
he's
big
like,
twist is,
it'd be a shame if you lost your house. Be a shame if your house burned down.
Yeah. He's got a wonderful voice though.
It's perfect. He's an amazing actor.
It'd be a shame. I can't.
That was pretty good. Hey, that was pretty good.
You need that. You need the mouth. You got to find out how he talks.
Yeah, your face just needs to be a chin.
It'd be a shame. No, it's not. That's not there. I'll think about it.
Yeah, good. You had a few moments.
But I heard that California is looking to actually provide unemployment for these people.
Good.
And that would change everything.
Yeah.
Because their whole leverage is like, you need money. And they're like, we do. Like we don't get paid enough.
Because we're this is a job.
I'm
not doing this because I love work.
The sad thing for me is like, it feels like they're just holding on so tightly to being like unexposed. Like, I don't know, like, and also the AI part of it gets me.
Well, that's the big point of contention. Like for those who are not aware, the writers of SAG-AFTRA, the people who write everything for every show and every fucking movie, are on strike because recently the topic of AI became a serious debate because the studios want to be able to classify any capture that they get of someone's voice or figure or actions as something that the studio owns outright, and they don't have to pay residuals on to whoever performed that thing.
And they could just use it again and again.
That's currently how video games are done. Just saying, I'm fairly certain that's currently how video games are done. I'm pretty sure the actors in video games don't get residuals. In most cases.
Well, didn't they go on strike too?
Maybe that was recently handled or changed.
No,
I just know that for a very long time it was the same concept.
Yeah.
But the movies, the creators of movies, and the unionized workers that create the movies have certain rules about officially sanctioned unionized productions. And it all hinges on everyone agreeing on the terms of the contract and abiding by the rules of the contract. And the studios, as the contract comes up for renewal, or the decision gets weighed as to what they do with this AI shit, the writers are on strike because they clearly don't want that, as they shouldn't. Yeah, because the studios are just being greedy. It's just like the fucking record labels. It's just like the auto industry, the airline industry. It's the same greediness, the same bullshit.
They've been doing it the whole time.
Companies that make billions of dollars saying they don't in profit, and
like, we don't have the money,
and then say we don't have the money.
We couldn't survive as a company.
But see, this is how fucked it is, because shareholders, the actual explicit purpose of the corporation is to generate revenue for the shareholders. It's not to be a staple or a shining light or a guiding
no, of course not,
authority in any particular field.
But they also want to be treated as like people too. Corporations are people, you know. They also want to be. They want to vote. They want to get corporations to have a weighing vote now. I mean, corporations are just. It's like it's a double.
America Corp.
Duality.
Capitalism works, Danny. Capitalism works. America.
Capitalism is just about finding more money.
When fucking Clorox Bleach can weigh in on the presidency, that's the America I want to live in.
Well, it would be
when Nestle cookies is the reason that the Keebler elf gets elected president. That's the America I want to live in.
That would be awesome. Imagine a world where cartoons came to life and we had to treat them as real people. Do you think we would vote a cartoon into office?
Yes. Yes.
Before a woman.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I guess we would. It would be like a villain or something, probably.
Dude, we're
be
the
Lex
worst.
Luthor.
We're pathetic. We love voting against our self-interest. But anyways, the SAG-AFTRA thing.
Okay,
Danny, what are your thoughts here?
Okay, so my big thought is that there has got to be a new way to generate revenue or disperse revenue. Okay, so the problem is for me, a lot of these digital platforms, they give out these numbers whenever they want to give out the numbers. They're not very open about all of their accounting and their numbers. And I think that's because when you peel back the layers of what Netflix really is, they're not worth as much as they say they are or as much as they're coming off as.
Sure.
And when they peel back those layers in order to do this deal accurately, it's going to lose a lot of money for them. So it's like a double negative.
You're referring to like the recent push to have them reveal the actual streaming numbers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they just say it whenever they want, but there's no like database that anybody's has access to check. It's just like tell them it's
whatever they say. Yeah,
it's whatever they say. Yeah. So I think they would have to change how they do business, first of all, to show they'd have to show that. But either way, it's a double negative for them because they're going to lose money and value, and they're going to pay out more money. But also, you got to take it back another step. Netflix is just buying, let's say Breaking Bad. Aaron Paul recently was like, I don't make any money off Breaking Bad on Netflix. And it's like, okay, Netflix bought Breaking Bad from AMC, and AMC sold you and your likeness to Netflix. Netflix got a good deal. That's at that point, you know what I mean? Like everything shifts. It's like, I don't know. They have to come up with a new way to do residuals because you can't do residuals anymore, and that's what anybody wants. Everybody wants residuals because it's a great idea.
Well, you know, Danny, this hit my industry first, so let me tell you something about that.
Okay,
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen
because it's unpredictable, right?
It's not.
The numbers are too high.
These fucking labels could pay out a fair share. They just don't want to pay out a fair share. Their goal is to make the shareholders profit. So they're not in the business of releasing records with an artist. They're in the business of owning recordings. That's what their business is.
Yeah.
And they don't give a fuck. The deals that they struck with the labels to get shit on streaming, those were incredibly lucrative for the labels. Artists never see any of the money that they made off of that deal.
And you have to get
the
beginning of time
billions of fucking streams before you're even making like money where you're like, oh, this is money I can do something with. So I don't know if they're ever going to get a handle on it if people are continually greedy. Like, honestly, that's why Clint and I started doing shit completely independently. Just doing shit ourselves.
Well, the independent house is A24 is making movies. They let them make movies because they
shocker. All of their movies are great, and all their movies make a profit because they're not focused on making the profit. They're focused on making a good fucking movie.
Yeah, like what?
Shocker.
The difference there is what? There's no specific CEO that's straight up like, I need all the money, or like, what's?
Well, what I think, and this is
not been taken over by the corporation.
This is the problem. It is the corporation, and this is what is inherent across any industry. The fucking C-suite, they're all business school cunts. The C-suite. None of them have ever done the job that they're in charge of running.
Because that's a whole different job.
None of them have ever done any of the work within the company that they're running. They don't understand what it is. Most of these people just respond to whatever some asshole presents to them on a PowerPoint one day a week. And typically that is, well, boy bands are super popular, so we need boy bands. We need to create 10 boy bands, without thinking. They look at the formulas and they say, this will make us money. And what's stupid is it rarely works.
No, it just makes them just enough money.
Everyone follows the trends. Yeah. Movies are guilty of it too. Like,
oh my God,
very few studios, production houses are willing to take on the gamble of like, I'm going to do something different here. Mm-hmm. Great risk, great reward. It might fail miserably, or it might be so different that it stands out amongst all the goddamn superhero movies. So many. You know, and those have been taking a hit recently. Like there's been a bunch of superhero movies that have just, for what was spent on them, they really fucking flopped.
They really did. And I'm a superhero nerd too. I just bought like $100 worth of comic books the other day. And I can admit that I have superhero fatigue.
Yeah, you're there.
I'm there.
I mean, it's been like 10 fucking years. Come up with a new idea already.
The quality dropped. You know, the quality fell so hard on so many levels.
Recently?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, ever since Endgame, I haven't cared.
I didn't even make it that far. I made it.
Oh,
like
you had to make it to Endgame.
I made it like 2 in, and I was like, this shit is just so rinse and repeat.
And also, the Batman was great. Also derivative though of 7. But I think it was amazing. Really? You hate on the Batman?
I didn't like it.
Wow.
I really didn't. I actually thought it was surprisingly cheesy. I thought it was going to be very dark, and I found it to be like laughably cheesy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Laughably cheesy.
Dude, I love Batman. Batman's the only superhero that I love because he doesn't have superpowers. He's just a fucking crazy individual.
Yeah, he is.
But I've loved all the Batman movies, even the shitty George Clooney ones. And it's not like I hated it. I like Robert Pattinson. I think he's a great actor. There was another one. This is an opinion. See what you say about this.
Go ahead.
Just like you felt that way about Black Adam on the last podcast, where you're like, The Rock designed this movie to be a profit-making machine.
Yeah.
He did all the right things to check all the boxes, and it still didn't do well. That, in my opinion, is what happened. Dude, did you look up the history of the people who wrote that movie? Like, have you seen their IMDb page?
No. What's the journey it takes you on?
Surprisingly
that makes sense. Yeah.
And for me, personally, I could tell that in the dialogue of the movie.
The dialogue was terrible.
There were many moments where I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
It's not just dialogue, the story.
It didn't need to be 3 hours, 2.5 hours.
It was that long?
Like they were I think it was 2.5. I think they were just like, we'll take all these good actors and this great IP that we know is going to be successful, and we're just gonna churn this out, and it's going to make bajillion dollars. Right. I think a lot of people would still prefer Dark Knight to that.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the Batman. Because they went for all the wrong things. Like, again, that displays the whole attitude as to why writers are on strike. Because there are no writers in that room for Black Adam. I'm sure there are, but you're saying their resumes are short. That means they're probably added on last minute. You know, like I bet they're. But like the idea that where's the woven story that makes sense? Okay, so my issue is the Black Adam shows up. He's like, what? Encapsulated or tuned.
I haven't seen the movie. So,
okay. So I'll tell you.
Spoilers, I don't give a fuck about. So go ahead.
It took a minute. I had to watch it in pieces. So he gets unearthed, and suddenly he's making jokes. He has banter with a kid, like about. He's like, "Oh, you're a good guy," or something like that. He's like, "A bad guy wouldn't do that," and he's like, "I don't know." He said something like, your mom didn't pack your lunch or something. I don't know. I remember watching the movie and thinking this character just completely went out the door the second The Rock actually showed up to do Black Adam. He was like, I'm going to be the most lovable guy.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense. Like he was, I don't know, like ancient. he shouldn't know what these rituals are of modern people, and then and adapt so well. Like the only thing he had trouble with is they wouldn't let him kill, and that was like the big conflict of the movie where he's like, why can't I just kill people? And you're like, don't kill people, and that was like the big thing. But like he's cool with everything else. I don't know. They just
dumb.
It was very dumb. And they used Paint It Black, Rolling Stone.
God damn it. So I mean, even this one, you know, they really abused that goddamn Nirvana.
Oh yeah, they did.
Matt Reeves.
Right.
Matt Reeves.
What are you looking at, Matt Reeves?
Known for Batman, Let Me In, Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Whoa, the second Batman's called Cape Crusader? That's cool. I haven't seen that. Oh, no, that's a TV. That's a cartoon. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is what the director and one of the writers is known for.
What do you mean of?
Just look at his credits.
Sure. Okay, yeah, a lot of writing, yeah.
But, I mean, not a ton. Okay, not a ton. Not a ton of...
He's been around.
Not a ton of really big ones, but he's got credit for sure. Mm-hmm. Here's one of the writers. The Town, solid. Top Gun, Maverick, Bad Boys, Batman. But these are relatively recent.
Sure.
This is all he's known for.
I'll tell you, this is not bad though. I mean, what's the first one?
They're not bad. It's just from my perspective, Bob Kane. No, that can't be the right guy.
That's the creator of Batman, or one of them.
Oh yeah, it's one of the writers. So my gripe there is, what they were hoping was they were contending against Nolan's Batman trilogy, which people love or hate. At the bottom, at the end of the day, the bottom of the barrel, it easily ranks up at the top of the Batman IP. It's some of the greatest, right? That's what they were competing against. Okay,
I think they did it.
Ben Affleck's dude, no way.
I love this movie.
No fucking way. They didn't come anywhere close to Nolan's shit. And that being said, if we go take a look at Mr. Nolan's...
I know Nolan's filmography. Yeah.
Right? So you would think if you're going up against Nolan, you're going to take two people that are double heavy hitter past what these guys are. But they didn't. And in my opinion, that's why this movie suffered. It was weak writing. Terrible writing.
Okay.
It was honestly difficult for me to stay awake, and I went to see this movie in the theaters the weekend it came out.
Wow.
And again, for me, the thing is... Oh, my bad. The thing is...
It'd be funny if I got out. I was like...
Where'd you go?
I was like, I'm out of here.
Fuck this, yeah. The thing is, for me... It's like you're going to put all this money into a great production, great actors, and you're going to skimp
on the writers?
On the writer and director, because Matt Reeves was the writer and director.
Yeah, but I've liked Matt Reeves in the past. I like the Planet of the Apes movies he did. I think they're wonderful. They're very deep. They're very moody. And I thought he brought that to the Batman very well. I really liked Robert Pattinson's Batman. I think it's the most honest Batman I've ever seen on screen. There's just such a seamlessness to which he embodies the character like he should be embodied. Like everybody else made their own Batman, you know, like especially Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton got in there and he was like, you know, pulling the rope and like making all these faces, and he had his own Batman. And you're like, cool, I've never seen Batman on screen before. Well, and then you go back, you watch Adam West, and Adam West is chill, whatever. And then even Christian Bale, you know, Christian Bale had he took it like he was like a beast, like he was like, you know,
an actual animal. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it was different. And then Robert Pattinson, he just walks in the door and he's like, I'm otherworldly because I'm a really weird guy. Like there's that shot where you see his like leather and you're like, this is just a really weird guy. But he's got this like, this walk. It's like Michael Myers, dude. Like he has this otherworldly kind of presence and seamlessness where I don't know. It feels like I'm watching the cartoon. I really like his Batman. But I do love Batfleck too. Batfleck for me is like also seamless. He's a comic book Batman, dude.
Don't even fucking ever say that to me again.
Oh, I'll defend Batfleck all day, dude.
I mean, I accept that though, especially if you're implying, you know, it's more of a He's more of the cartoon elements of Batman. I never watched any of the Batman cartoons, so I'm not.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, that's like.
Yeah, I know it's part of the lore. I just love the character, and the strange cast of people.
Well, this will segue us back into our topic. The new Flash movie had digital recreations of actors who have passed, and it was very unsettling.
Damn.
Nobody liked it, and they didn't even do it well. They could do it well.
But that's expensive.
Sure. Yeah.
How do we make it look like it cost $1 million, but only spend $7 million?
Yeah. Well, I think it's expensive because they don't know how to run the department. Because that's why the visual effects artists just went on strike as well. Because they are all tired of
useless mouth breathers in the C-suite sucking all the fucking money from the budgets. Yeah, I'm sure they're sick of that. Well, those useless bean counters.
They keep changing their minds about things, especially with Marvel, because Marvel's very everything has to be perfect Marvel. So there's so many people making decisions that the visual effects artists, they won't know what they're working on right away. They'll just design things, and then of course it's wrong. And I experience this all the time. You do something if someone doesn't know how to explain what they want, and you're like, I don't know what you want. I made this, and they're like, this isn't what I want, but if you make these changes, I think I can do it. And that's what they're doing, except they just keep making change after change after change. So a lot of visual effects artists have talked about working with Marvel and Disney and saying we'll design something and not know how it's going to end. And then we'll have to change entire things and they won't line up. And you could see there's some fight scenes that was built before they even cast actors and stuff. Because they just keep redesigning shit. And then everything looks like shit because it takes so last minute to finish. And then here comes the Flash with some of the worst CGI. And the director's like, it's supposed to look bad because it's a dream state.
No way.
Yeah, you didn't see that? He said that.
No fucking way.
He said because it's not reality, it's a weird world of reality. It's not supposed to look perfectly realistic. Yeah. And I'm like, what? He has you talking about? But if you're trying to make superheroes look real, and then he breaks the time barrier and shit, and you're like, oh, it's AI in here, it just I'd rather you film people, I don't know, or use real things. So yeah, they did a digital recreation of Christopher Reeves. Looked horrible. They did a digital recreation of the Supergirl at that time. I forgot her name. They did Adam West. And they created, they say, a guy out of nowhere. Everybody saw this one guy who was on the CW show as one of the Flashes, and that's who he looked like. And everybody was like, you used him for that scene. And the guy was like, I never agreed to that. So either they just took his likeness and didn't say anything, or they're just straight up lying and saying oh, he's just a new guy. It's already happening. They're already taking digital.
No. Dude, they were 100% ready to be like, oh, use AI to capture and limitlessly exploit takes and likeness. Sure. That's the whole strike is really because the studios were going to push forward with that.
They have already been doing
approach.
it.
Yeah. They do not give a shit.
Dude, they're doing it with extras. We get paid 1 day of extra work, and then that's it. You'll never come back.
The movie for forever.
They'll never need you. What's that?
You're in the movie for forever.
Oh yeah, you're in the movie forever.
You're in the movie for forever. Never get paid.
They had a 30 Rock episode about it when 30 Rock was season 2. He puts Jerry Seinfeld in these random TV shows because he has all the footage from NBC, and he's like, we had enough footage to digitally make a map of you and put you in any show. And it looks horrible, but that's the joke. But they're already doing it in there, and it's they've been trying to do that for forever. It's
way more cost effective. It's way more cost effective, Danny. Because then the cunts in the C-suite can get a bonus.
I don't know. I'm not big on AI.
This dude.
AI.
There's nothing we can do. Cat's out of the bag. So many different layers of problems are past the point of us being able to stop them.
Yeah,
and
I know.
AI is it's here. It's here. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to become more. And they might, like the studios might actually win.
Yeah, they might win.
They actually do have power and leverage.
And that's what makes me
they
sad.
Have the money, you know?
Because the viewers are still they're not gonna see a change. Because we're so deprived of anything else. We're still gonna see these movies. And we have been seeing these movies. Just look at the Fast series. The overall decline in everything that you would respect a movie for, and yet the profits go up. You know, like you watch Fast 9, 10, and you're like, what is this? People like this? And you're like, a lot of people like this. I guess so.
Yeah, Clint and I were talking about it too when the Ticketmaster, like Taylor Swift Ticketmaster thing was at its peak.
That was interesting.
And it's the same shit, dude. As long as people keep buying tickets for concerts at $1,500 a ticket, artists are gonna
no one's gonna stop.
Yeah, like why? If people are gonna pay that, they're gonna try and milk that out of you, and we're gonna do it. And we don't realize that the only way they're gonna not do it is if we don't do it. If we stop going to those concerts,
people don't want to work anymore.
Really, a couple months, we'd be seeing very cheap concerts, but people aren't going to stop going to concerts.
No, they're not going to stop because there's still money out there, just in certain hands.
And same thing with movies, same thing with music.
There's still just enough money to go around out there that doesn't matter how many people can afford these things. There's plenty that can, you know. Like it's just going to move out of that range of a class. We're up on class warfare coming up, dude. They're moving us further and further away from each other in every respect. It's
deliberate.
Very scary.
Deliberate.
And this is something here. Class warfare. I mean, you've got every major business going on strike and saying we've had enough. And this is after what they call the Great Resignation, where they're like nobody wants to work anymore, and they're like burger flippers think they deserve $15 an hour, and it's like yeah, they fucking do. Like. It's not crazy to want $15 an hour anymore. That's a livable wage. It's very, very normal to ask for that.
And commensurate with inflation.
Exactly. Everything is kosher.
This is what goes back to what you were saying before too. Like I'm not when I say these things, I don't feel bad. I don't feel entitled. I've looked at the numbers.
Yeah.
And the general value of the money that I make doesn't do shit.
Doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything. It's because. Well, it's a host of fucking reasons. But it's a problem we didn't start. I didn't inflate the dollar bill. I didn't take us off the gold standard. No one's blaming me for that.
But we're also the solution. Not only are we the problem.
No, we're not. No, I'm not accepting that either. I'm not the fucking solution. I'm not fixing the problem that you fucked up in the first place.
No, I don't think we're supposed to fix it. I think we're just supposed to survive it. You know?
Well, that'll be the real struggle.
Yeah, that's it. It's enough.
That'll be the real struggle.
Well, that's why I'm making a movie. Because I'm putting my creative partner on screen. He's put a lot of himself into this. Well, not that either of us have, but him more. We're putting it out there. We're making art, and the world could get rid of it. You know, the world could give a shit, or the world could be like, I kind of like this. Put it on a shelf. You know.
For me, I've always looked at it as like. At least I didn't start a corporation that had a C-suite full of cunts that were just there to suck the profit out of an unwitting public. Like every time I create something, I feel, even if it's like the most extreme shit that I've released, I feel like it's more of a positive influence on the world than
anything else out there.
And you know, I could have been negative in how I took the emotion outside of me and put it out into the world, but I channeled it into something that ultimately is positive. It's music. It's something that somebody can listen to and hopefully relate to or not.
I don't know. For me, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same thing. Creation is just. I mean, what else is there? I mean, there's love, of course. There's family. But like creation is like the whole point.
Well, and genetically, it's like the one thing. It's one of the few things as a human that is genetically wired in you.
Yeah,
we're genetically wired to procreate.
Well, procreate.
A genetic response in our brain. Creation is a part of the human experience.
Oh yeah, so we're just.
And for people who don't create frequently. or people who only create children, you're doing it wrong.
Well, just think
Creating
of like
children,
tools, like primates, like starting to use tools. You had to create the idea of a tool to use it. It's in us. It's innate.
It is a fundamental piece of the human experience.
Everything has been creation. The entire reason we survive is our own invention. So yeah, that's why I love making movies, and it is really so. You know what? I'm not a part of SAG. I'm not a part of WGA. But I do think that they were doing the right thing. And I do see how difficult it's going to be, but there's got to be some new way to think about all of it. Something's got to shift over the whole creative spectrum, because of I don't think we have adapted really to internet.
No.
Ever since it started, we're still trying to do things like residuals. Exactly. Like that's a dead word really, because TV doesn't exist like it used to, so everything has to be redesigned.
Well, and you would think now that everything is so digital, residuals should be a fucking foregone conclusion. That should be automated.
Right. It can be.
That already should happen when something gets streamed. The money that is generated from the presentation of that stream is immediately parsed out to whoever, you know what I mean? Like we could do that right now.
We just write an algorithm
to do that right now.
Yeah.
But for all the reasons we've discussed and more, that's not in the interest of the company that owns the IP. And the companies that own the IP want to suck as much of the profit from that thing for themselves.
I wonder how you could get more than just profit out of something like, I don't know.
Well, but that even from like the onset of the creation of a movie, it's understood that there's going to be multiple life cycles to this media, and each of those life cycles is going to generate us X amount of money. Back in the day, it was the release in theaters, and then it was DVD, VHS,
right.
Like home media rentals.
Home media.
And
I still get DVDs. No, Blu-rays.
Now again, all of those things are digital. Theoretically, if the goal was to create a sustainable industry, we would have done that by now. That's what I mean to say.
Oh,
if the goal was to create a sustainable industry
100%.
where all the people in the industry can completely support themselves by doing the work that they do, we would have figured that out by now. But it's not that, because it's, again, run by a bunch of C-suite cunts who only care about the money in their pocket. So, and that's, dude, it's just every industry. That is what has to change. That's the prevailing mindset in America as the capitalist country. That's the prevailing mindset here, is that everything needs to be turning a massive profit for a select few.
Profit. And that's how...
the line only goes up. It only goes up. It never goes down.
Yeah. If it goes down, you're failing. Something's wrong. You fire people. It's not designed... Like, capitalism is designed to never stop moving. And that's not good. When humans work exponentially, it's just going to go too fast. I don't think it's sustainable in the long term.
It isn't. And every year they tighten a noose somewhere in that chain to squeeze pennies on the dollar into the profit and out of the fucking... Dude, it's like, why do we send... We can do any type of manufacturing here. Why don't we do that? Because corporations want to pay someone in China
cheaper.
A lot less to do it.
Yeah, we give them everything. And then they made millions, I think, or I don't know what they're doing with it. I mean, they've got to make... It's got to be better for them.
They're really... in some ways, in other ways, it's not necessarily better, because a lot of the conditions in those places aren't necessarily the best or the safest.
That's true. Very condensed.
But
Very
it's just
small.
it just like the reason that we don't use American labor is because it costs too much.
Yeah. It doesn't cost what it should. It doesn't cost much. It costs too much, but
it's not even commensurate with what I saw this one
cost.
infographic. I can't remember the details exactly, but it was something to the effect of like before the first stock market crash, the average American was making $4,000 a year.
The numbers
and
before the
adjusted for inflation, that's like multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. The average American citizen was making their $4,000 that they made had the purchasing power of today's multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right. Yeah, like we're making less than they were making in the Great Depression.
Yep. Way comparatively, way less.
But we're so much more distracted.
Well,
like imagine that we didn't have TV, we didn't have football, we had some movies, but imagine like we had none of that. We'd probably care a little more. That's why when the pandemic happened, everybody looked at their lives. Everybody looked at everything. They were like,
the Great Resignation.
I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah,
really.
And they were like,
you're telling me I could spend my whole life and then one day they locked the world down. I could spend my whole life working and then one day they stop life.
Everybody stops.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing. I gotta say.
Well, it was for many people. It was, yes, because it was the first time they've nihilistically unpacked their existence.
Yeah.
For me, it was not a shocker. I actually loved COVID.
Yeah, I did.
It was honestly great, and I had knee surgery right before. Courtney and I had a fucking blast. We enjoyed ourselves.
All right, cool.
But that's just because nihilistically, I have woken up every day for the past 20 years thinking today's going to be the day that there's a nuclear attack. Or today's going to be the day that martial law will be declared. That's just
that one.
That's just how my brain has been looking at the very precarious situation that we find ourselves in right now.
My sister thinks they're going to fake an alien invasion.
Yeah, dude, that's.
And then I think it'll take us into martial law if they do that.
That's a very common thing amongst a portion of the population where it shouldn't be.
I'm like, you don't believe any of the alien shit that's coming out, and she's like, well, I think it's kind of convenient how it's coming out at this time. And I was like, all right. Like the idea of it's real, but there's malintent in showing us finally at this time. But I don't know. I like it. I think it's a lot of fun. You see those little aliens in Mexico?
That guy, the guy who's responsible for disclosing those, has a troubled history of provedly false similar claims in the past. Those were hilarious.
Those are really funny.
Like, his son made that for a science project.
Like this big.
The teacher failed him, so he turned him in as aliens. But the thread to suggest that it's 100%, it's real. It's just what's being presented to us isn't the reality. And I'm very willing to entertain that idea in the sense that a lot of events that had major consequence in our lifetime, at least, were not presented to us the way they actually happened. And at a bare minimum, they still haven't told us everything about certain events that occurred in our lifetime. And I can't help but think there's a reason. Well, that's one of them, but it's not the only one.
In our lifetime?
That is
you and I?
There have been a few. Waco. I was alive for Waco.
Oh, you think
you were definitely alive for Waco?
You think something else happened there?
Well, I 100% know that what the FBI said isn't 100% accurate. They were definitely
that makes
saving
sense.
face. The point that I'm trying to make here is that the institutions will do whatever, they'll say whatever to protect themselves. So it is in their interest to, under any scenario, to always control the narrative. And that's what they do. They've spent billions of fucking dollars. They've trained hundreds of thousands of people to conduct psychological operations, to completely own the psyche of a country. This is something that after World War II, when we took all the Nazi propagandists and folded them into our own government, we firmly understood how to make people think and behave. And honestly, the church was doing it for thousands of years before that.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, I totally agree.
So this is
perfecting. We made a tool out of our fellow man.
Bro, we all accept to have a hypno box that we carry around with us that will suck hours of our day every day, guaranteed.
Oh, the iPhone.
They've put tons of research and effort into controlling our thought.
Yeah,
and to think that they aren't in some way manipulating the context with which we are understanding what we're seeing, which is what they do. And even in the UFO lore, there's a couple guys. One of them's name is Richard Doty, but they also, some people suspect the guys who revealed everything to Tom DeLonge to be the same thing.
Tom DeLonge, yeah, he sees
Richard Doty, no. Richard Doty, at least at one point, his explicit job in the Army doing psychological operations was to discredit the UFO community.
Right, yeah.
And he would bring to them actual footage of unknown aircraft and fake footage. And he would give it to these popular figures in the UFO community.
Right.
And they would go out and say, look at this great shit that we have. And the government would be like, oh, that one's fake. And it would immediately discredit everything
the other ones.
they said.
Yeah.
Psychological operation.
It's great.
So and Richard Doty is a person who's now coming forward and being like, I know all this shit about aliens and all these, even though people have just forgotten that his fucking job was tricking people into thinking it was one thing when it was actually the other. I don't know. People just forget shit that happened more than 8 years ago. I don't. So I tend to constantly go back and look at the context with which this information has emerged. All of it has been filtered out through select channels. David Grush, the guy who gave that congressional hearing, all the shit he said was approved by DOD. That's why he has to be careful about what he says, because they've said you can talk about this, this, and this. You can't talk about any of this. Mm-hmm. They're still filtering what that whistleblower is saying to Congress.
Blow your whistle, but not too loud.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean to say. I look at that and I can't help but think they know what they're doing because they've been doing this for a long time.
Of course they do. And if they don't know before, they're figuring it out. They figured it out.
No, dude, for sure. The one episode I did last week with my buddy, we talked a bunch about deep underground military bases, but one thing that I think most people are just completely clueless to is like the area of the government where these programs would take place it occurs in what's called the black budget. And it's the portion of the defense budget that can't be disclosed because it's classified or otherwise secretized in a way for they can't print it on paper and release it to the public.
Sure.
It's trillions of dollars.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's where all the budget's going.
Hundreds of billions of dollars go into the
I think they just turn around and use that shit to make money instead of having to ask for more money.
And in some cases they do. And in fact, what David Grush is coming forward and saying is that money that was earmarked for legitimate causes on all sorts of different programs was being misappropriated and used on these. Like they would say, we want the money for this. And then they would take that money and use it in some highly secretive program that Congress wasn't even aware of, which is a crime. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's being right. But that's why that's how he's saying his claim is legitimate, because it's an actual crime, something that can be prosecuted. But nothing's going to happen because if you look at the numbers, and if you just do a little bit of simple reading to understand the actual infrastructure of military bases on the face of this planet that the United States owns, it will become very quick to you that is the real world. The world that we occupy, it's the crust on the surface. It is nothing compared to the reality that is occurring, in some cases, right below our feet.
What are you talking about? What are you like?
I'm talking about why aren't our well, I mean, not necessarily.
Okay.
You know why our streets are crumbling, our infrastructure's crumbling? Because we spend billions of dollars developing space, plane, satellite, and drone technology.
To get off.
Do you know why our schools suffer? Because we spend billions of dollars making bombs just in case.
Yeah.
Nukes just in case.
Yeah.
That's why. That's the real reality. We get the crumbs. We get the technology 30 years after they've had it. Dude.
I know.
Just look at those numbers, and this is like simple Google search shit. You look at those numbers, and it becomes really clear. Our layer of existence, it's just we're mining, and in some cases, it's labor that we're mining. It's paper pushing. We're just serving the purpose of distraction. The real reality is occurring there, in the Manhattan projects of today. That's where the money's being spent. That's what our government cares about. And we're paying for it. That's the funny part.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Cost me a lot of money.
We could legitimately say, I don't want my money to go to that.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine? You know how much more money? I mean, 30% more money than I already have.
Yeah, sure.
Just add everything with 30%.
For me, taxes, it's usually closer to 40.
Oof. I mean, it's New York. So.
Well, and I, in the past couple of years, I've done a lot of independent contractor work. So I'm completely stuck on that tax-wise. But, yeah, the real reality is not. This is just a fucking illusion, dude. We're the dust on the surface. We are just the distraction. If anything, we're the buffer. We're supposed to take. If nuclear war breaks out, we're supposed to absorb the radiation. That's our purpose. They've got a bunker that they'll be in nice and safe, but we'll be up top, soaking up.
We do live in New York, though. I mean, that's kind of like...
Yeah, we're definitely doomed.
Yeah.
If that shit if any doomsday scenario plays out, we're fucked.
It's here. Yeah, it's here.
We're fucked.
I can't imagine anyone else getting hit. If I like...
Well, I mean, it depends on, what exactly the specifics of the scenario are. But, there's a couple big cities in America. LA, there's probably at least one or two other cities on the West Coast that would be...
I don't think aliens think like that, though. They don't think like Independence Day. Like Independence Day, like they're going to be like, I'm going to hit New York City. I'm going to hit LA. I'm going to hit Seattle. You know what I mean? Like,
well, LA is because LA is one of the biggest entries into the country from Asia. Like that, and it's a huge shipping port.
Oh, you're talking about war. I'm talking about aliens.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't see a scenario where if there's an advanced interstellar race, we don't dude, how often do you walk by a pile of ants and get scared?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
we don't, like, we're not even a blip on the fucking radar. Maybe we could shoot a nuke at them, but I'm sure they have some more advanced technology that would immediately...
Because ants bite. You get a lot of ants and it hurts for a minute, and you're like, oh, that hurt for a day.
Oh, darn.
There too. Yeah, exactly.
Big deal.
But that's all we got. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm waiting for it all to open up. I feel like it's coming. I feel like it's not enough that we're getting all the tech. We got to get something else. We got to open the spectrum of life.
Honestly, at this point, I want a fucking showdown.
Yeah, between tech and AI and
aliens. Like, let's have the Terminator alien crossover that we all deserve. Ooh. And have it actually just be our reality. Like, let's do this, because I'm sick of whatever pretending we're doing right now. I have zero patience left to pretend that the meaningless existence that I live has some kind of meaning.
The world is falling apart around us.
Yeah,
so many bad things are happening around us. It's like natural disasters.
I refuse to accept blame for that, and I refuse to accept that the meaning that I'm being told to think is the meaning. I refuse to accept that it's the meaning, and I'm deliberately trying to find my own meaning.
Find your own meaning.
Who knows? Who knows if I'll get there? But again, the art of creation. Anyways, we've rambled on. It's an hour and 20 minutes. We got to call it. Danny, I want to thank you for coming back on.
Yeah, man. Sorry, we just rambled.
No, it's no worries at all. This is great. And we'll do a couple more guests and we'll have you back on here.
But I got a little high.
No, all good. Listen, we took it there. Is there anything you want to give shout outs to before we wrap it up?
Oh, okay. Shout out to Camera A.
Yeah, Camera A.
Yeah, so locationsmovie.com. We're going to put the film up there soon.
Sick.
In the next... I'm trying to do more before I leave, but I don't think it's going to happen. Soon, locationsmovie.com. Check it out.
And I'll add the link to the description of the video too.
Yeah, do that. Otherwise, no, thank you for having me. Thank you for talking. Sorry, I hardly talked about the topic. Maybe you can rename it.
No, dude, we did. We
it's
talked
in there.
Honestly, there's 40 minutes where we're talking about unions and movies and.
All right.
We
This
got
is
it.
Jill.
We touched on it.
Totally legitimate. This feels very legitimate.
Listen, we just try to keep it totally and legitimate here.
All right.
All right, we're done here. That is the show. I want to thank people for tuning in or not, and we'll see you later. See ya!
This has been the Totally Legitimate Business Podcast. The end. With your host, James Oliva. Executive producers, Clint G and James Oliva. That's obnoxious. Sound design, mix, and master by James Oliva. Literally no one cares. For more Totally Legitimate Business, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Totally Legitimate Business or add us on TikTok at TLB Pod. When will this end? Thank you for listening. Now get back to work. Move it along, buddy.